boys and girls, today we're going to be looking at main ideas. Now the main ideas isn't what you might think, it isn't a summary. The main ideas, if you remember correctly, is when we look at the text and we identify the main themes in the novel. Now, have a wee think about what you think a theme might be. Got it? Got it? Okay. A theme is something that comes up time and time again throughout your reading. So if you're reading a book and, for instance, Harry Potter, one of the main themes in Harry Potter is obviously going to be magic. He is a wizard and he goes into a magical world. So that's what I've chosen as my first main idea today. Now, the main idea is set out in 3 parts. We have our point, we have our explanation, and we have our evidence. Now, we're going to have a wee look at the point first of all. Now, to complete the first part of your main ideas, boys and girls, you need to have a read through your text and see if you can identify a theme. Now, remember, you're looking for that thing that you can see time and time again coming up and you think, yep, that is really common in my novel. Now, I have simply written a sentence highlighting that one of the themes in the book is magic. My sentence reads, one of the main themes in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is magic. And that is all you need for your point. At that part, all you need to do is tell me what you are trying to say. You don't need to explain it any further. You don't need any evidence. One sentence is totally fine for that part. Once you have your point, boys and girls, you're going to want to move on to your explanation. Now, if you remember what we spoke about in class, your explanation section is the part where you get to explain how this is a theme. How is magic a theme? Where do you see it in your book? Now, if you think you've got lots of ideas for this, you can write more than one sentence. But for now, for my example, what I'm going to do is write one sentence just expanding on what I mean, so it becomes clearer to the reader how this theme of magic is shown in the novel. If you look here, boys and girls, I've added my sentence now, which explains how the theme of magic is shown in this particular part of the novel that I've been reading today. Now, it simply says the theme of magic is shown at the start of chapter 3 when the Weasleys appear in a flying car. If you wanted to read the chapter for a little bit more detail and add in a further explanation, that would be super. But if you don't and you think you've addressed it well enough with that one sentence, then that's absolutely fine. Once you've got your explanation, you're ready to move on to your evidence. The final part of your main ideas, boys and girls, is the evidence section. Now, to find evidence, we have to look in our novel. And if you remember, we spoke about this in class, it is where you find a quote to support what you have written previously. Now, a quote is when we look in the book and we find something that we can copy word for word that explains what we have been talking about in our previous sections. For this part, I have found the quote, Ron was leaning out of the back window of an old turquoise car which was parked in mid-air, and in brackets there I have put page 1. Now, of course, this isn't page 1 of the novel, but it's page 1 of that chapter, and we're only going to be reading this in chapters, so that will be absolutely fine for when you're writing that. Once you have all 3 parts, that's your main idea sorted, boys and girls. You've got your point, you've explained it a little bit more in your own words, and you've found evidence from the text. Once you've got all 3 parts, you're ready to move on to your next theme and do the same thing over again. Have fun, boys and girls!